If you're an educational creator and your income still feels way smaller than what you think it actually should be, then this video is for you. Because the problem isn't that your audience is too small or that you don't have enough views, because most likely you probably don't need more views. That's the truth of the matter. The problem is that you built all this attention but never built the business behind all that attention. And for so long, you've been pouring so much attention, trust, and views into this bucket. And this bucket is symbolizing of your YouTube channel, your social media, whatever the case may be. But the problem isn't that you don't have enough attention, trust, and views. The problem is that you've never actually built the business behind all of that attention. And business behind all that attention is represented by this business suitcase. So now you've got people watching you, trusting you, learning from you, but not enough people actually coming out of it. And the normal advice is actually always just really going to be the same. It's going to be post more, grow more, just get more views, get more likes, get more engagement and subscribers. Just stay consistent. But we both know that is not the real fix because more attention doesn't actually create more income. Because if it did, you would already be very, very rich. And by the end of this video, I want to show you something very, very simple. You may already be sitting on a ton more revenue than you realize. You just don't have the system to actually unlock that revenue. So the thing is, a lot of creators are actually going to be looking at the wrong problem. They look at low or unstable income and assume the answer is just going to be more reach, more views, more followers, more growth. But that is a surface level answer. It is a surface level answer to a surface level problem because the problem isn't that you're not getting enough attention, views, and subscribers. Because if people already know you, they trust you, they watch all of your stuff, they comment on all of your content, they open all of your emails, and just keep coming back, then the problem is not that you don't have enough people in your audience. You most likely are watching this and you have tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people in your audience. Your problem is that the people who already exist inside your world are not being converted properly. That is the true fact of the matter. And this is represented by, you know, you thinking that the answer is more reach here in green, but the actual real problem is that the people who are already in your audience who, have, subscribed and followed you for a long time, they're just not being converted properly. And I can almost guarantee some version of these words have come out of your mouth before. I have an audience, but they don't convert. I feel like I should be making more than this. I have views, but I still don't have a real business. And that is actually what the real issue is. You've built the front end of the channel, which is going to be here represented by the attention, the trust, the views going into a bucket. And this bucket means, YouTube, IG, Facebook, whatever, any of your social medias. But you have not built the actual business behind the YouTube, behind the Instagram, behind the Facebook. And that's why the income is always going to feel very random. And that's why more growth is not actually fixing your problem, because the problem has nothing to do with more growth. And I can prove it to you in the next 5 seconds. So I know for a fact that your audience is not the real problem. And this is represented by these three images right here. Most creators are massively 100% underestimating how much people are actually in their audience and what it means to have 10,000, 50,000, or even 100,000 plus people in your audience. And if you're watching this, you most likely across all platforms have way more than this. So let's actually look at what a 10,000 seated stadium actually looks like. And I mean, as you can see, this is, I guess, maybe college basketball. This is seated 10,000 different people. Look at the vastness of it. And this is only 10,000 people. Most of you have way more than 10,000 people in your audience. Now look at this, a 50,000 person stadium. This is in New Zealand after, I think, COVID 2020, when things reopened back up again. I'm pretty sure this is what this is. It's a concert. This is seated 50,000 people. Look at the scale. Look at how many people are actually in the crowd and etc. Now, let's go to the big kahuna. This is 100,000 people at a Michigan game. I was just in South Carolina for the past 3 or 4 days. Today is April 22nd, 2026. And this is, I'm pretty sure, an SEC. And Michigan, I think, is an SEC school. And if you don't know what SEC means, it's just like It's one of the biggest college. It's a big college and big for football. And the SEC stadium for South Carolina, the Gamecocks, is huge. This is seated 100,000 people. Look at how many people there are. You could not count that if you even wanted to. So online, these numbers feel normal because we see numbers like this, all day. But when you actually think about it in real life, like this is a ridiculous amount of human beings. Like so many human beings that it would take you forever to count like all the individual human beings in each of these pictures. These numbers only feel tiny though if you either expect, these numbers to carry you AdSense wise, sponsorship wise, affiliate wise, when in reality, those things are 100% inconsistent and aren't really controlled specifically by you. Or specifically, if you don't have the full business behind your channel actually built yet, of course these numbers are going to feel tiny because you're getting all this attention, but nobody's actually converting into revenue, into income, into money. That's because the actual things that cause someone to convert aren't actually built behind your channel yet. So when someone says like, "Oh man, I only have 50,000 subs or 100,000 subs or I'm only getting 10,000 views in a video," they don't realize the scale of what that actually means to have 10,000 human beings, 10,000 different human beings subscribed or following specifically you, and scale this to however amount of following you have across all platforms. Because even if a small number of people out of the tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people in your audience bought something that was priced at a reasonable, decently priced range specifically for you based on your expertise, and only like maybe 5, 10 people bought, do you know how much you would make in that month because of that? And I want to actually show you the actual numbers behind this because this is actually becomes real when we actually look at it in a money model / table format. So let's look at your channel's real money potential. Every month, a certain number of real people are going to watch your videos. Of course they will. That's going to be your monthly unique viewers. That's what YouTube calls your monthly unique viewers. And it's in your YouTube analytics right now. You can go look at it literally right now. So the money model is pretty much simple. Viewers a month times buyer percentage times price. That's how much you would make that month. And these numbers and these conversions are based on whether you have some of the things I'm going to talk about later in this video. So stick around because there are 4 things that are required in order for you to be able to unlock some of the numbers in this money model. But say, for example, you're getting 10,000 viewers per month. Most of you watching this are generating and getting way more unique viewers per month. I can guarantee you for a fact. And say you're charging something at a reasonable price range at $3,000. Yes, that is a reasonable price range. Say, for example, only 0.05% out of that 10K convert. The lowest amount of conversion percentage ever. You would make $15,000 because all you would need is 5 people out of that 10,000. 5 people out of the 10,000 people, aka the 10,000 people that are in this building right here. You only need 5 to convert at something at 3K price points, and you'd make $15,000 for a month. And you can extrapolate this to however many viewers you're getting per month. You can look at it through your YouTube analytics. Now look at like if you're getting 100,000 views per month. And this is where the numbers really start to get huge. Yep. So most educational creators at your level are going to be between 1K to 30K a month, around 30, 35, maybe even 40K a month. If your real potential is, for example, 30K a month, you are missing out on $324,000 in a year. Every single year that you don't capitalize on the fact that this is how much you're missing out on. So really, it's not even about how many subscribers or followers do you have or how many views that you're getting. You need to ask yourself, like, how much revenue is actually sitting inside the people that you already have, that you already generate out of monthly unique viewers from the amount of videos and the content that you post. And really, one of the most important concepts to understand is that one buyer is worth way more than most creators realize. And this is something that has to be a belief that's broken in your brain. You think you need way more people before you can make real money, when in reality, one buyer can matter way more than you think. So specifically, one person in your audience can be worth hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars, depending on what you sell and how real the transformation that it is that you're providing. So when a creator usually says, "Oh man, I need way more people," what they often really mean is that I just don't have a clear way for the right people to buy. These are 2 different problems. One buyer can matter way more than you think. One person in the tens of thousands of people in this audience can be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars. Hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars. So imagine just having to get one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 people out of this 100,000 size stadium, aka your audience. You only need 10 people. I'm telling you right now, you wouldn't even be able to count how many people are just in, for example, let's make this a red. You wouldn't even be able to count how many people are in this section alone. Right there alone is probably 100 plus people. And then when you actually zoom out, look at how small it is compared to everywhere else. You only need 10. Most likely you have way more than 100,000 people in your audience, aka your audience. So depending on what you said and how real the transformation is, you could actually be worth way more. You only need 10 people out of the 100,000 people in your audience. So the problem is, you may be acting as if you're broke in an empty room, like, oh man, I don't have enough people in my audience, I'm not getting enough views, etc. But in reality, you may actually be broke in a full room. And not even in reality, most likely you are acting broke in a full room of people who are just waiting to buy from you. They just need the right offer, the right thing for you to sell to them. And the truth of the matter is, most creators' businesses are unfortunately just leaky buckets. So imagine you're pouring all this attention, trust, followers, views, people watching, likes, engagement into a bucket that has multiple holes in it. And you're unable to capture all this attention and trust and followers and actually convert it into money, dollars, revenue, income. And it's because of these holes. It's because of these holes. All the attention, trust, and followers is just leaking out as money. As in, you aren't able to turn all that attention and trust into and followers into money. So that means the money leaks out of the bucket. So from the outside, it looks like you as a creator has something very valuable, and you do. But on the inside, the business behind your actual channel on social media is just unstable and messy and has a ton of holes. And that's why it's kind of like a brain fart, because how can you have all of this following and still just be leaking out all this money and not making the money that you're supposed to be making? It's because attention by itself is not a business. Attention without the right back end and without the right business behind your channel, it's just going to be leaks in income. And we're going to get into what these actual holes are, but until you patch them up, money is always going to leak from your channel. And you're never going to be making the money that you want to make from the channel, no matter how many views and attention and trust you get. Yes, it might rise by a little bit, but it's never going to be exponential because you have holes that are preventing the bucket from actually being filled. So what are these actual holes? Because we already know that you are filling your bucket with attention, trust, followers, views, all of that good engagement. And these things are good. You never want to stop that. That's like one of your best skills. But what are the actual holes that are preventing all of that attention, trust, and followers from being turned into actual revenue, income, and actually be able to hit some of these numbers that we talked about earlier? Specifically right here, where we actually looked at your channel's real money potential. Well, we need to look at the first hole. And that first hole is going to be the offer engine. This is going to mean what people are actually buying, not like random low ticket stuff like workshops and communities and things that require you to constantly be posting content just to get the attention and then so that people can buy by the masses. No, no, no. It's not going to be some random work with me or some random information or course. No, no. It's going to be a real offer based around a real result and a real transformation. Because it's only when it's based around these specific things is when people actually consider it as valuable. Cool. You can sell a community, you can, sell a course, you can have something in your bio to a workshop, but if it's not framed and positioned around, okay, this is what you get, this is how you get it, this is why you need it, this is what it entails to get you to the specific end result that you want to, then there's no point. People will just view it as something to buy, a product, a service, rather than something that they need, something that actually they need, a transformation, not just a product. They need to view your stuff as a transformation rather than something that they're just buying to get a result. And that is a problem with communities and services and courses. They're just buying to get a result rather than actually buying to get the transformation of their desired situation that they want in their life. So the second thing, and this is the second hole that needs to get patched up in order to actually turn all the attention, trust, and followers that you're getting into predictable income and revenue, is a specific launch engine. So this means, like, how are you actually creating buyer movement in your audience? Like, how are you building demand? How are you creating an incentive and urgency for somebody to actually, buy from you? Like, how are you making selling and presenting your product feel natural rather than random? And the launch engine is what actually allows your brand and whatever you're selling to actually feel like something that they need to actually buy now. Like, our partners at D-Ways Acquisition, if they relaunch any offer that we have helped them create, they are selling out all spots. And that's just because of the fact that there is demand around what we sell, what we have created, and we have positioned their specific thing that they sell as exclusive, as scarce. You can't just buy this. You can't just get this passively or, just anyhow. These specific launch and demand engines create so much urgency and so much, like, oh my man, I need to buy this right now in your audience, that making a lot of money from these specific offers and products that you're selling, once you have figured out like the offer to sell from the offer engine, I mean, it's effortless. It feels like you don't even have to sell. Your launch engine communicates how badly and how much your audience needs this by itself. So the third system is going to be the revenue systems engine. This is going to be the third hole that needs to be patched so that you can actually prevent all of the money leaking out of your bucket. And this is going to be all of the back end stuff that actually keeps your business and offer running without you having to post content and without you having to constantly be on a hamster wheel of posting content just to make money. This is going to be the funnels, your email sequences, your SMS sequences, your CRM, so that you can actually track the people in your business. That's going to be your follow up sequences. That's going to be your nurture campaign. That's going to be your payment infrastructures. These are all things that keep the business running on the back end, behind the scenes, without you needing to be everywhere and anywhere in the business for you to make money. These things catch and convert demand over time and prevents it from leaking away. Whereas before, this is actually one of the most important things, is you have all this attention, trust, and followers, but the reason why you feel like you need more is because you don't have anything to actually capture the existing demand and existing people who are in your audience and convert them into your offer slash product over time. Of course, your offer and products has to be good, and that's why we have the offer engine. And they actually have to feel urgency to buy it, and that's why we have the launch engine. But the revenue system engine is how we actually capture this demand and convert them over time for the people who are not ready. And this is how you get sales, like, pretty much every single day once this engine is actually running without you having to post content, without you having to worry about, oh man, if I don't post this video for this week, I'm not going to get any sales. No one's going to buy my affiliate products. I'm not going to get this sponsorship. My AdSense is going to be lower for the month because I didn't post enough times. These things, the revenue system engine is going to catch and convert your demand over time instead of letting it leak away like how you probably have done so in the past. And then the last engine is going to be the CEO engine. This is how you actually think as a business owner. And if you don't actually see yourself as a CEO, I mean, you're going to keep on thinking as yourself as a content creator and avoid the moves that a business owner actually has to make. You're going to underprice yourself, undervalue yourself. You're going to hesitate when making business decisions. You're not going to make decisions based off of data. You're going to make decisions based off emotions and reactions. You're not going to have structure in how you run your business, and everything is going to be all over the place. The CEO engine is actually one of the most important engines because if you don't have a CEO engine, then, I mean, quite literally, the rest of the engines can't really work because you're not going to be able to think like a CEO and actually even want to implement some of these things. You're going to just want to post content and get more views because you think that's going to fix your business, when in reality, it's not. So this is how it looks like when all four holes are patched. And now you're no longer leaking money. You have a full bucket of attention, trust, and followers that's just sitting there waiting to be monetized, waiting to be turned into revenue. And because you now have a patch bucket, no money's leaking out again. All the engines are working in tandem. And now it's like you are the fastest Lamborghini in the world because you have four different engines that all have their own unique specific purpose that are allowing you to now maximize on the amount of money that you're making per month. And I'm telling you right now, This is how you really make the big bucks. Like, I don't know what your goals specifically are, but these type of engines and these engines being implemented into your YouTube channel, I mean, this is how you make hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars a month. Not a year, a month. Educational YouTubers are the most powerful people on the planet. There's nobody who is more powerful in being able to gather attention and hold that attention. Attention is the new age currency. If you have attention, attention is basically as equal to money in 2026 and beyond. Educational YouTubers have the most amount of attention over everybody else. If you have these four engines implemented into your YouTube channel, there's nothing that can stop you. That's just the truth of the matter. So this is also really the truth of the matter. More attention without systems just creates more waste. And more attention without systems is honestly really just a waste of time because you're just going to get burned out. You're going to be doing all this effort, doing all this effort to get more views and not actually be turning it into money that you actually should be making. So more views with a weak back end is just going to mean low revenue. Even if you're getting a ton of views, your views may be high, very high, but if your back end is weak and you're missing and have all these holes in your bucket, in the bucket where you're flowing all of that views and attention into, you're just going to be leaking a lot of money and your revenue is going to be low. That's why you probably experience months where you're up one month and then you're down this month because you're still relying on maybe affiliate sponsorships and AdSense. Maybe you're selling some products, but it's not really the right product to sell. Maybe you don't even have a back-end engine that even allows you to convert people over time. Maybe you're not operating as a CEO. Maybe you might launch once, but can't use that data to improve on the next launch so that you're constantly building demand. All of these things play a role. And if you have even just a couple of missing, these holes become very, very prominent. And the only people who can still make a lot of money even while having these holes is people who are getting so many views where most likely you're not going to be able to do that. That's just the truth of the matter. You're not Mr. Beast, you're not Logan Paul, none of us are. So yeah. But creator B, they may be getting fewer views. And fewer views doesn't have to mean small views. Fewer views could mean like whatever, 10,000, whatever, 50,000. It doesn't matter. It just depends. It's on context to you. But if you have a strong back end with all of these holes patched up, you have a great offer, a great product, a launch engine that builds demand over time. You have back end systems that convert people literally over time without you having to post content all the time. You're just gonna make more money than the next creator, than creator A. It's just a fact that matters. There's nothing else to it. Like you will just make more money. And that's the point. Like more attention without system just creates more waste. And who would you rather be? Would you rather be creator A or creator B? I know who I'd rather be, and it's what all my partners at D-Ways Acquisition are moving towards, creator B. So at the end of the day, the final sentence that could describe this in its entirety is more views do not create more income. It is systems that do. Simple. And this is not just like theory. This is not just something I'm pulling out of my butt. These are already proven with real examples of creators with real audiences and weak monetizations who got a whole host of different results once the back end got built. So Cecil, he was a YouTuber with 67,000 subscribers and was only making about $800 a month from AdSense. No real validated monetization, was selling certain stuff, but it wasn't really going anywhere. After we implemented the offer engine, the launch engine, the revenue systems engine, as well as the CEO identity engine, I mean, dude, Cecil went from $800 a month to $10,000 in 6 days, selling $3,000 piano programs. Piano, bro. And here are some of the numbers. Some of these are not going to be as accurate. A lot of these are split pays, so that's why it says maybe the total spend is like 1,000, but it's 1,000 over 3. And Cecil has never had a client that has never paid in full. We did this with only about 100 people as well. It says 150 here, but I remember at the time it was 100, so please bear with me. Ton of booked calls just from implementing these things, whereas before, Cecil was not getting any sales from any of his services that he was already selling. And Dusty and Erin, for example, 200,000 YouTube subscribers, 20,000 person email list, doing about 10 to 20K a month from their YouTube channel. But they had just pretty much plateaued, views completely declining. In 4 days, after building a proper high-ticket offer, launch sequence, revenue systems backend engine, they collected $28,000 in 4 days, and they did this off 16 calls. They sold out all spots. We could have made 50, 60, 70,000 with them. We just decided to cap off spots. Simple as that. So the point is, and also we did this with about 100 people as well. The real kind of main point of this is that like creators, like these creators aren't like rich. It's not like they're like super rich or like they were super rich before. Like these were people who were genuinely struggling with this. The point is that once the backend actually exists, the exact same audience can behave completely differently than how they were moving before. Before, Cecil was attracting a lot of people who just didn't have that much money. Same with Dusty and Erin. They already were selling some sort of high ticket program that wasn't really, it was high ticket, but it just wasn't that like positioned well. Nobody was buying it though. It wasn't until we actually repositioned everything is when people actually started to invest because they now have the engines. It's really not even me or them or any of you. Like it's not any of us. It's just the engines cause people to convert from your audience. It's just as simple as that. So if you're an educational creator and your monetization feels weak, unstable, or confusing, please stop asking, how do I get more views? You want to start asking, where is the money leaking from the trust, attention, and views and subscribers and likes and engagement that I already have? Because your audience is actually not the real problem. The issue is that there's just no business behind your channel. No premium offer, no launch system, no back end, and most likely you're not even thinking like a CEO in the first place anyway. There's just no way for your most serious viewers to pay you what your expertise is actually worth consistently and predictably because your audience is not going to be the real problem. Like, it's just going to be the business behind your channel. And until that gets built, more attention will keep feeling like a dopamine hit, but it's not going to actually change your life in terms of like making you the money that you actually want to make from your channel. But once the business behind your channel actually gets built, your channel stops being content and it actually starts actually becoming a real business. Because isn't that what we want in the first place? And in this video, I showed you the 4 big places that leaks usually come from. It's going to be your offer, it's going to be your launch, it's going to be your revenue backend systems, and it's also going to be your CEO identity. Now, I already have a full video breaking down these 4 engines down in a lot more depth. So if you want to actually understand what each one is, why it matters, and how they actually work together, go watch that next. Because once you see those 4 engines clearly, you'll understand exactly why your audience hasn't been converting the way it actually should be.